I'm Carr. Let me tell you a story about my city, a story about a riot, and a lesson that needs to be learned. The story is familiar to those who live here. For those who don't, in 2001, an unarmed black man named Timothy Thomas was killed by a white police officer who was chasing him. At the time, this was the 15th black man to have lost his life at the hands of the police in a 5-year period. The community was outraged. They took to the streets and demonstrated to show that they were willing to stand up to the tyranny of unjust law enforcement. The police did what they do best, and they did what they're doing now, and they escalated things to the point of violence, tear gassing and spraying protesters and demonstrators. In response, the demonstrators took out their frustrations on the very city that had abandoned their communities and the police that had targeted them. There were public demonstrations, there was civil disobedience, and there was property damage. They were tired of being treated as an underclass and their lives not being valued. They put their suffering on display for the world to see, and our spineless corporate shill of a mayor did what he did best. He hid in City Hall, he blamed the community for the brutality visited upon them by the police, and did little else. All of his changes to the police department were cosmetic at best. Later, when he left office, after the boycotts and the protests had left the minds of the most Americans, he opted to sell out his city to corporate interest and shrugged his shoulders at the plight of the financially struggling black community. He created an organization that operated outside the purview of city council and the democratic process and handed over the revitalization of the Central District, where a lot of these protests occurred, to corporations. Now you see communities where the liquor stores, the greengrocers, the corner shops, the bodegas, and all of the familiar elements of these neighborhoods are gone. They've been shuttered and they're replaced by dispensaries and brew pubs and tap rooms, diners. The black tenants are forced to move out of the dilapidated apartments that were left to crumble by absentee landlords due to spiking rents, only for them to be sold to developers and morphed into expensive condos for hipsters looking to do the urban thing. As a new, younger generation of wealthy white professionals start moving back to the city and the downtown area and the central districts, we are watching stadiums and music venues and big citywide entertainment events take place while the black community again gets left behind. They are still being put out of their homes. They are still being killed at the hands of the police. The gentrification is now expanding to outerlying communities, and more eateries and big box grocery stores are moving in as the rents are skyrocketing, and these black residents that live there have no recourse other than to move out. So here we are. Recent events have brought the black population who are tired of their lives being devalued at the hands of the state back to the streets, and the police are gearing up and doing what they have always done, acting as an arm of the state's monopoly on violence. The story I told you about my town is not unique to my city. You can see this and similar stories in every major metropolitan area across the country, which is why more and more protests are springing up. This frustration will be felt coast to coast. I want the police chiefs, the sheriffs, City Hall, the mayor, and all of the wealthy investors to learn the lesson from this that was ignored last time and take it to heart. This will keep happening again and again. You will watch the oppressed class rise up and burn your materialist trappings to the ground. You will watch blacks who are tired of their lives being taken by the unjust hierarchy that is the police force, and they will come to the streets. Until you prove that black lives matter to you, that the physical, mental, and material well-being of blacks in your communities matter, this will keep happening. A note on demonstrations. For those who are remaining safe at home, that is fine, and you need not justify your reasons for not taking to the streets. Know that there are things you can do to help from home. Monitor, transcribe, and post transmissions from police scanners. There are apps widely available for free, and this can help demonstrators. Donate to monetary bail funds for the demonstrators who are taken into custody. If you are close to the areas of demonstrations and can safely do so, perhaps offer your space as a safe shelter if the demonstrators must quickly disperse. Offer up black clothing, masks, helmets, heavy-duty gloves, milk, apple cider vinegar, bottled water, and portable snacks as donations to the groups. Do not organize anything digitally on your phone, Google Docs, Zoom, WhatsApp. These things can be subpoenaed. Please use paper and physical records and burn them after. Stay safe and powerful, comrade. To the wealthy elites in my city and cities all over the country, I implore you, try to learn a lesson this time.